Retro Hangover is supported via Patreon by listeners like you. We would especially like to thank patrons Lyle McCarns, Tony G, It's a Me Ferrario, Stud Still Smash the Milkman, Lucas from Game Over Hell, Randall Quiggle, Raging Demon from Command List, Poppy the Masked Keaton, JC, Ozzy Garcia, Megan Caruso, Retro Overdrive, Dave Jackson from Tales from the Backlog, Soha, the Emperor, Storm Beagle, and Captain N from Retrotopia, Matt, aka Stormageddon, from Fun and Games and Reignite Podcasts, Van Fernal from Van Fernal's Retro Stream, Ryan, Keith Gasper from the Main Quest Podcast, Rick Firestone from Pixel Project Radio, Eric Guess from Unlockables, Ash Event, Mike the Ref from Backbreaker Gaming, Alan Bingham from Saxbit, Alt, Low5 Alex from Low5 Gaming, B Ross from Super Garbage Day, Oh Me, Sega Boy 7, Jared Breland, Riskel, Adam R, and Super Dave from the Anime Field Guide. Your continued engagement and generous donations are deeply appreciated.
Open your ears and crack some beers. You are listening to the most recent episode of Retro Hangover.
Retro and classic gamers, welcome to the podcast where we're donning durable doomed dungarees, doffing doomed dungaroos. This is Retro Hangover. I am your co-host Chris Copleen with special guest from Gaming Memories, Kade. And, as always, your host, Shane. Flashlight modded Dick Dragon Selter.
You will never catch me doffing any Dunkaroos, sir. They deserve more respect than that.
Dunkaroos or Dungaroos?
I don't know what the fuck a Dungaroo is, so I'm just gonna retcon whatever you said and just assume Dunkaroo. Also, I'm a fatty, so, you know, whatever. That's what I'm going with. Dunkaroos were the shit. I'm sure I probably shouldn't eat them now. I probably shouldn't have eaten them then either.
No one should have eaten them.
I was young, and I didn't know any better.
So Dungaroos are a playful blend of dungaree, so they're like overalls.
How the fuck are pants?
I have no idea what we're talking about.
But I do remember Dunkaroos. They are great.
Oh,
so you can eat Dunkaroos in your Dungaroos.
There you go.
Since you're not doffing any.
Living the best life.
You technically doff Dungaroos when you shit.
That, you know what?
You mean Dunkaroos?
You got me there.
So I don't. Yeah, you're right. I meant Dunkaroos.
Dunkaroos. I didn't know these existed.
You're gonna have to doff your Dunkaroos when you shit. Hopefully.
You also dunk your Dunkaroos in the toilet when you shit. I mean, this can go so many ways.
Let's see. Doff your Dunkaroos to drop your
the
Dunkaroos.
onion just keeps peeling, baby.
There's layers to this.
Just like ogres.
You can be on your phone ordering Dunkaroos via DoorDash while doffing your Dungaroos and dunking your Dungaroos on the toilet.
And docking your fellow Mormon sipping your dirty soda.
Soaking in it.
Soaking it. Both docking and soaking are synonymous.
Oh, yes, of course.
It's kind of like
Are they?
dunking your Dungaroo, but the human version.
Are you going to start naming it your Dunkaroo?
I think it's a great name. We gonna dunk this Dunkaroo, babe?
Wait,
Kids
so
are out
when
of
is
10.
docking and soaking been the same thing?
They're not. They're not.
They're 100% the same thing.
They're analogous.
This is my culture. Don't fight me on my culture. I never docked or soaked though, because I was righteous.
Okay,
didn't break the rules.
Explain to me how two dicks is the same as leaving your junk inside a chick.
Yeah, so if you soak something in like a dirty dish of water, it sits in the water.
Dirty dish.
That's not what we're talking about. Is that a euphemism? Right? Yeah.
It's soaking in it doesn't move. You're not washing it. You're not scrubbing it. It's just sitting there soaking.
No agitation action. Yeah.
And then if you dock a boat at the dock, it sits at the dock. It's not moving around. It's just sitting at the dock. So both of those are euphemisms for insertion or penetration with no motion, because the motion in some circles of Mormonism is what makes it intercourse.
In that case, yes, you are correct. It's just what you're docking it into.
There is no male-to-male docking, and there's nothing to dock on a male-to-male.
That's what. Okay, maybe listen. Maybe I have a too narrow definition of docking, because my definition involves two dicks. That to me, that was always the definition of docking. I could be wrong.
Yes.
I don't know.
It's when the foreskin of one dick docks the other dick inside of the foreskin.
That might be true.
It's like that thing that you do with sleeves of a sweater where you like put one hand into the other one, and it's like that.
And then you put your hand in front of it and you go like this.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There might be gay Mormons.
You can play whack-a-mole like that.
The thing about, you're not supposed to be doing gay sex in any way, shape, or form as a Mormon. So I feel like.
But does it count as gay sex if it is just.
No, but everything counts.
It's not insertion. It's not insertion. I mean, it's just a dick touching a dick. You're not fucking a butt.
Like, what if you both are soaking in the same chick at the same time? Is it gay? Only if the balls touch.
That might be the only workaround. That one might work.
That would be a workaround. Yeah,
that could be a workaround.
Boring Eiffel Tower.
2 dicks, 1 hole. What if you're both in the same glory hole?
But then that's extra gay.
How do you know?
You don't know who's on the other side.
You have no idea.
Well, do Mormon glory holes? Do you just stand there and you just soak in the hole? Like, does that count?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
the
confused.
Mormon hierarchy of sin. Kissing a boy, according to some people, just a kiss, male to male kiss, might be worse than actual heterosexual sex. That's what that's the nuance you guys are forgetting. You're coming from a rational standpoint. This hierarchy of sin is not rational or really based on anything. It's a weird cultural egregore that's made turned to its own thing. It's like,
so I have a feeling they're not celebrating Pride Month in Utah.
They're no. I mean, you might see a couple flags on a couple homes here and there.
I guess that just like also serves to crank up the sin meter on like Judas, right? He was just like, yeah, I'm gonna kiss this guy, and that's how you know it's him. And the Roman guards are just like, yo, you could just point him out, man. He's like, no, I gotta kiss him.
Gotta kiss him. So Judas, not a Mormon, apparently not Jesus either, because he accepted the kiss.
I mean,
or
technically,
was it thrust upon him?
Thrusting?
I said what I said.
Ooh.
What the fuck are we talking about today? I don't.
Doom 3.
Oh, okay. Great. I mean, it does involve hell, so I guess this is still
talking about going to hell,
related.
Now everyone knows about the proclivities of sexual relations among the Mormon community.
And if you want to really force a segue, there is a subsection or a subgroup within Mormonism that probably believes the type of torture that will be bestowed upon you for engaging in such horrendous apostate activities might not be too dissimilar from being tortured by, I don't know, maybe a hell knight burning you alive or eating your guts over and over again. You know, what's that Greek dude that like gave fire to the humans and he's like chained to a wall and the crow eats his guts out every day or something? Isn't that like
I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Prometheus or something? There's some pretty
Prometheus, yeah.
Yeah,
it's Prometheus. Okay.
Well, he's the one that gave humans fire, right? When you started talking, I immediately thought of Sisyphus, but that's the whole rock up the hill thing.
Yeah, that's the stone. So you're saying if you're Mormon,
That's right, Morgan.
if you're Mormon and you're gay, your punishment is in the afterlife is that demons are going to get all up in your guts?
Oh, no.
That might not be much of a punishment, depending on who you're asking. No, there's a deeper, we can cut all this out, Ashen, but a deeper doctrine is if you aren't exalted in the final top, there's 3 heavens, and within the top heaven, there's 3 more heavens. And only the top of the top of the top even have genitals in the afterlife in the first place. So if you really enjoy getting your guts ripped open, you're not going to be doing any of that because you're going to be asexual, and that will be your punishment. You'll be an angel, neither male nor female. And only the exalted beings can procreate and make spirit children and have their own planets. So better be righteous, otherwise your dick is going bye-bye.
There can be a lot of ways to take that is problematic in today's day and age.
There's a lot of ways and a lot of things about Mormonism that can be problematic, to say the very least. But hey, you know what? It's my people.
There you go.
Be nice to them.
You're like, hey, how do I got to do to get that spirit dick? You know what I'm saying?
I figure if you have a spirit dick, you might be able to just back-to-back endless orgasms. There's no recharge time.
I just have spirit fingers
because you're not confined to the chemicals of the body. So anyway,
all right, great.
Doom
so
3.
hey, Doom 3
Hangover
is a video game
about going to hell. Apparently,
I mean, is it bringing hell to you? It's like DoorDash.
It's
See,
more
there we
about
go.
bringing
It's like
hell
DoorDash.
to you.
Bringing it full circle.
Someone
Like
DoorDashed hell. That's how the game opens. Spoiler alert.
Great. We just found the subtitle for the episode. Thank you.
But before we're going to get into Doom, and apparently after we're done talking about gay relations and Mormonism, we are going to be talking about what games that we have been playing lately. And as we are wont to do, as tradition dictates, maybe tradition is not the best topics going into this episode so far. Our guest starts out, and then myself and Shane share. So, Kade, what games have you been playing lately?
I just finished Pragmata, and I'm working on my next video essay about that game. And spoiler alert, I quite enjoyed it. And I'm going to spend 40 minutes waxing poetic about why I enjoyed it, and that should be coming out in the semi-near future.
Yeah, sweet. Short and to the point. I like it. So, Pragmata. Good stuff.
Pragmata, yeah.
You're going to correct me on the pronunciation.
I don't know. Is it right? Or, you know what? Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Do you know what I think is the most annoying fucking thing outside of grammar police? Is pronunciation police.
You just did it.
I know. And I need to call myself out.
Okay, thank you.
It's the dumbest shit ever. First off, people pronounce things, pronounce. People pronounce things different. In Utah, we say mountain. We don't say mountain. That's retarded. But it's technically wrong, but that's how we say it.
Who the fuck says mountain?
Some people say it like that. Now, it has a T in it, but we say mountain. Like mountain.
Yeah, mountain.
People, I get shit about it all the time on my essays. But just like how we say weird shit. And then, oh my God. I know I pronounce Suikoden right because I speak a little bit of Japanese and I can read hiragana, katakana. And dude, every time I do a video, there's at least 5 people that are the pronunciation police, and I just think it's the dumbest shit ever. So I'm sorry for doing that to you. I don't know the right way to pronounce pragmata. I don't know what it is, but that's the game. You guys figured out what game I'm talking about.
Shane.
What have I been playing? I don't know. I mean, technically, since I guess we're probably not gonna talk about it, I played Resurrection of Evil, which is the expansion to Doom 3. So there's that, which I hadn't actually played before, even though I've played Doom 3 a few times. So that was a new experience. That's fun. But honestly, not a whole lot other than that. I'm really trying my damnedest to actually play the new expansion for D4, and I just have not been able to fit in any time whatsoever. So I got that going for me. Shit, man. I don't know. That's kind of it right now. I have to do a look forward on what the rest of our year looks like for the show and figure out how I got to fit stuff in. And then who knows, maybe I'll have some other stuff that I can play also, but I'm not holding my breath, but I got a whole lot. So there's a lot of choices, none of which I'll make.
If you're looking to fit things in, Kade might have some recommendations.
I've heard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I have been playing Panzer Dragoon Saga for the Sega Saturn. I think Kade would like it because ultimately it's about killing God. Of course. 4 discs, a lot of talking. It was a lot shorter than I thought it'd be. I got some enjoyment out of it. I'm going to be talking about it at some point in the future, probably be on Dave Jackson's show, Tales from the Backlog. We haven't been shouting him out at the beginning as we've made a tradition, or mainly I made a tradition of doing. But yeah, I'll be on Tales from the Backlog at some point in, I think the way it looks, probably late July, August, somewhere around there. I'm sure he'll announce it over at his channel. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about that with him. I had a pretty good time with it, but I'll save my thoughts for that show. Other than that, I haven't been playing anything really. At the time of recording, I will finally get to the Final Fantasy V 4-Job Fiesta. I'm going to start playing that. When am I going to start playing that? I'm about to start playing that, but I won't start playing that officially until June 19th, 2026. So you will have already seen me start that. I've been promising I will, and I have. Will I be done by the time you're listening to this? Probably not, because I have no time in my life to do anything. So hang out. I can go until August. I can go until August 31st, apparently, according to the website. So I may do that. So make sure to subscribe to our Twitch and YouTube channel, because I've been kind of dry there for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but I'm getting back to it. Don't you worry with some Final Fantasy V. Well, I've already have, because that's going to be in the past. So
is the hype
there's
of
that.
Panzer Dragoon real? Everyone says it's amazing. No, not real.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a good game.
Is it more of it would have blown your mind back in the day if you got it at launch? No. It's fine. It's
also not that.
All right, good to know.
What?
I mean, that's a.
Also
The internet's told me that's one of the holy grails of Saturn, so I've always been curious.
It is. And you know why it's a holy grail of Saturn? Because they made so few quantities of it, allegedly. Even though you can go on eBay at any point and find like 100 copies available for you to buy, apparently only like 15 were made. So no, not 15, probably a few thousand, probably 10 or 20,000 or whatever. And I happen to own a copy. And I think that's the only reason why it's considered to be such a gem for the system. And I'm not saying it's a bad game. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad game. I had a great time with it. I wouldn't call it an all-time great, but I think when it really, when you get down to it, I think its legend is more tied to its price tag than its actual quality, because you can't get that game right now for less than $1,000. And so, yeah, anyone who tells you it's a great game either hasn't played it or is trying to protect the value. I mean, we got to be real. I think it's one of those games that is considered to be great because no one's played it. So you sound cool when you're lifting it up into another category. But I'll have a further conversation with someone about that later. And I might be wrong. Oh, you think it's a spicy take?
It's a little bit of a spicy take. I mean, from someone who's uninitiated, based on.
Sure. Well, I mean, play it yourself and let me know. I'd love to hear some feedback. It's a short game. You can get it done like 12 to 14 hours if you just like speed run it. Yeah, it's not bad at all. Pretty quick. Now, today's game you can also get done in about 9 to 12 hours, and that game is Doom 3. And because we do have a resident Doom Dick Dragon that's hanging out with us, doffing dungaroos and dunkaroos, he likes to discuss the brief history of this id Software IP of his. So Shane,
yeah,
why don't you please give us a brief history of Doom Cubed?
Technology is a siren song, and video games are arguably its most eager suitor. As the industry advances, so do our ways of playing, and, perhaps more importantly, making these digital escapades. Engines evolve, soundscapes deepen, and naturally, visuals get a shiny, polygon-heavy coat of paint. By the turn of the millennium, John Carmack and the team at id Software noticed the landscape shifting rapidly. Naturally, the impulse was to drag Doom kicking and screaming into the new era. It wasn't an immediate consensus, though. Internally, there was a bit of pushback. The team was tired of constantly mining their own IP, preferring to cultivate fresh experiences. However, once Return to Castle Wolfenstein hit with surprising success, the internal skepticism melted away, and a Doom remake went from probably not to the primary directive. Despite the remake nature of the project, they slapped a good old 3 on the box, just for good measure. Development kicked off after Quake 3 Team Arena wrapped up, with a modest team of about 24 people. The official reveal back in February of 2001 at Macworld was quite the affair, unveiled alongside the GeForce 3 by none other than Steve Jobs himself. Unsurprisingly, the project hit some delays, though in the grand, chaotic tradition of game development, it was remarkably standard and generally uneventful. Published by Activision, Doom 3 finally clawed its way onto North American PCs on August 3rd, 2004, with the rest of the world joining the fray shortly after on August 13th. Critics were generally charmed, yielding an 87% aggregate score on Metacritic, while the 2005 Xbox port managed to squeeze out an 88. The consensus? The visuals were breathtaking, though the enemy AI and the lack of a proper challenge drew some raised eyebrows. Commercially, it was a hit, moving 4 million units over its lifetime. Since its debut, the legacy of Doom 3 has been, let's go with mixed. Purists lamented that it traded the original's twitchy, high-octane FPS adrenaline for a slower survival horror vibe. id Software attempted a course correction of sorts in 2012 with the BFG edition, offering updated visuals and a few gameplay tweaks, but the horror experiment never quite took root. By 2016, the series effectively pivoted again, shedding much of Doom 3's somber atmosphere in favor of a return to true boomer shooter form. And that is your brief history of Doom 3.
Thank you for that history, Shane. One thing I've learned about Doom fans, critics, everything, is that they are incredibly inconsistent.
How so?
So I was looking through while writing the brief history and getting the notes together, like a lot of the critics, they were divided once again on the approach to the gameplay. And a lot of them at the time said it was very similar to Doom, which we'll get into. It's not. Well, I mean, there are similarities, but it's not like the exact one-to-one. There are definitely stark differences. But a lot of them are like, yeah, it's great that it's exactly like Doom. And other people are like, actually, we don't like the fact that it's exactly like Doom. And that was the same thing they said about Doom 64. So what is it with Doom fans, Shane? Maybe they've evolved. Maybe they've accepted that a game that plays like Doom is good. But it seems like for a long time, people simultaneously wanted Doom to be Doom and didn't want it to be Doom at the same time.
I think it's, well, first of all, that doesn't even make any fucking sense anyway, where they're like, I like it because it's like Doom. And other people's like, I don't like it because it's like Doom, except like arguably Doom 3 isn't really much like Doom. So I don't know where the fuck that's coming from. But I would liken it to a lot of those really insufferable people in the music scene, right? The ones that are just like, well, like I want the band to sound more or less the same because I like their sound. And if they change it, then that means they sold out or they suck. But also, if the band just keeps releasing the same basic material for like 10 or 15 or 20 years, then people are like, oh, they don't evolve at all. And they're just stuck in blah, blah, blah. And they're stale. So there's no winning. There's no winning.
No. I would agree. Yeah, I've noticed that like with Metallica. If Metallica stayed like they were in the 80s, people would bitch. But Metallica changed, and then people bitched.
I mean, I'd be happy with that, but that's the camp I'm in. But
I actually liked their later music, but whatever.
It's fine. It's fine.
I thought Reloaded was great. I thought Loaded was great.
Oh, we're going there. Okay. You do realize that was like 30 fucking years ago, right? Almost. Like you said recent. I thought you were talking about like 72 Seasons or like Death Magnetic or something.
Wait, they made more?
Yeah. Yes. Quite a bit, actually.
Well, I thought they stopped after S&M. I just didn't know if they made anything after that.
There's like 3 S&Ms now.
Oh, well. Yeah. That's where I am.
Mm-hmm.
My head is still in the early 2000s.
Yeah, your head is still stuck in the Load era. I get it.
He Dunkarooed that head somewhere.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Fun trivia fact. That's what's on the cover of that album. It's Dunkaroos.
Yeah.
I have a question about because it's probably going to hinge the whole conversation.
That hasn't happened yet.
Better than Dunkaroo heads. Yeah. People say Doom 3 wasn't like Doom. Like that was the big thing. They switched to this horror, less boomer shooter. But when I play the original Doom, now Doom 2 is a little bit different, but the first original Doom as it was when it came out is you're scrounging for ammo a lot of the time. It's pretty hard. It's not like crazy hordes of enemies. It doesn't feel like a power fantasy to me. It feels more like Fear. It's just that it was old and didn't look as good and it doesn't present itself as like a traditional horror game with dark and the lighting. So when Doom 3 came out, I quite enjoyed it and I was confused at the time. People were like, they totally changed directions and I didn't see it that way at the time. But it seems I'm like the minority. So the question is, what is Doom? Like Doom 1 to me doesn't feel like a modern day boomer shooter, like 2016 or Eternal.
Well, okay.
But that seems to be the way people view it.
There's a lot to unpack there. So, first of all, modern boomer shooter is a crazy title, but like the whole implication there is that it's like a shooter from like the 90s, right? So, okay, the reason that the modern boomer shooters, such as they are, feel the way that they do is because they're building on the pre-existing shooters of old. And so,
but that's not with Doom.
Well, no, hold on. So they're more intense, they're more fast paced, they're more twitchy than even their predecessors, just be almost out of obligation, right? Because they're like, oh, well, this is what it was, but we're taking that and cranking it up to 11 because, you know, that this is, it's like the fucking, what is it? Anytime like they make a remake, like the Ocarina of Time one for the 3DS, this is the one I always go back to for this, where when I played it, I was just like, yeah, this is definitely what Ocarina looks like in my head. I remember it exactly looking like this. No, the fuck it's not. You go back to the original N64 and you do a comparison between the two and you're like, oh yeah, no, this looks way worse. And so that it's that sort of mentality of like people developing new boomer shooters were the ones that either played the old ones or were aware and heard tales of the old ones and were like, well, we gotta one up it. And I think that's that like arms race mentality that makes it feel that way. But like to answer your question about like what is Doom, I think at that time, if you sit Doom 1 or 2 side by side with Doom 3, they are very, very different experiences, namely in, and we'll get into this in like gameplay and stuff, but namely in how the environments are presented. Like this is very much structured more like, honestly, a bit more like Fear, really, where it's like, this is supposed to be more of a horror experience. There's much like genuinely darker, not like dark aesthetically, just straight up fucking dark areas necessitating a flashlight. Whereas in the original Doom, even though it was, you know, dark atmospherically, like as far as like, oh, there's blood and like skeletons and demons and shit, for the most part, it's actually a pretty bright game. There's very few places where it's like intentionally very dark. So that's like one of the key differentiators there. And for the record, I'm not in that camp of like, I don't like it because it's not like the Doom 1 and 2, because I think it stands on its own merits. But, we can expand on that a little later.
Yeah.
I agree with all that. The question I had, not just to you, but just, I guess, open-ended question is the atmosphere and all that stuff is 100%. I agree. It is different. I should have been more clear. I'm talking about the gameplay. Like if I think of a recent boomer shooter and I trace it back to like, oh, that does feel like Unreal, like an old boomer shooter, or that does feel like Serious Sam, or that does feel like these older games. I can see where they're getting from, and I can see where they're amping it up to 11. But it doesn't seem like they're channeling Doom 1. I don't feel like Doom 1 is a boomer shooter in the way that Unreal is, or some of the other games from the 90s. So
I can see that.
When Doom 3 came out and people were like, oh, yes, the fear is inspiration with the dark hallway. And I think the biggest difference is the level design is way more linear and handcrafted versus that's a big difference. The question I had is like, but the actual gameplay, it seems in the circles online that I'm poking around, is people remember Doom more like Unreal or Serious Sam as this fast twitch-paced boomer shooter. But when you play Doom 1, it doesn't seem to me to be that.
Yeah, I can understand that perspective.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I feel like it also depends on how you play it. And what I mean by that is the different difficulty selections, because there's
There's
6.
a bunch. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that materially impacts how the game plays. And if you play on like ultra violence, for example, it is way more like that. It doesn't make it harder in like a Resident Evil sense of like, well, you better fucking ration out your bullets because this shit's hard as fuck. And like enemies are bullet sponges. Like, no, that's not how Doom ramps difficulty. It's just like, hey man, what if we instead, where this room on the easy mode had like 2 shotgun zombies, what if it was filled with like 12 dudes? Like that's the difference.
Yeah.
And then it becomes way more frantic at that point, right?
That could be what I'm missing. I did quite a bit of research for this episode because I thought, I'll just maybe do an essay on this later and just kill 2 birds in one stone. And I found so much stuff, even from when it came out, that people were really upset. Like, this isn't like Doom. This isn't this fast-pitched boomer shooter. And man, I'm just like, I haven't played Doom in a while, but I don't remember it being anything like Unreal or Serious Sam or these others. So maybe my memory's wrong, or I didn't play it on a high enough difficulty.
Well, I think the other interesting note about that is I don't actually put Serious Sam in the same camp as like Doom or Quake or Unreal in my head, just because like Serious Sam, the first one came out in was 2001,
somewhere around there.
So to me, like that's already a different category. Like Serious Sam was already using Doom and all those games as its inspiration to start with.
2001.
Duke 3D, I guess, is
There we
Quake.
go.
That's what Google says is the first boomer shooter.
That makes sense. Duke Nukem 3D. That was 96.
Yes.
Yeah.
96.
Okay. But let's get into this game. We do have an episode to do. Even though this discussion is great. It's like podcast discussion. Why would we want that?
Yeah, right.
Because we're getting into like gameplay conversation, which is awesome. But we want to get into personal experiences right now with Doom 3.
Oh, yeah.
So.
My bad.
Yeah,
I forget you guys have like a format.
Yeah, we kind of do.
Chris over here just being like, we live in a society.
God damn it. Structures, rules. All right. Kade, what is your personal experience of Doom 3?
Played it pretty early. I don't want to say launch, because I was playing on a friend's computer. I brought this up on your show before. I had a wealthy friend whose dad was a programmer at the local WordPerfect or Novell, if you guys remember that software company. He made good money, had a bunch of PCs. They had a game room in their house full of PCs. The game was, I'm sure we'll talk about this. It was one of the most hyped games. I think, what did I find? It was like 3 games that year that were coming out. Half-Life 2, Halo 2, and Doom 3 were basically all the hype. They had definitely hyped it up. These PC graphics are going to melt your face. There was a I don't know if you guys remember Steve Jobs unveiled Doom at Macworld Tokyo.
Yep.
And
it was in our brief history, in fact.
I didn't watch that live, but I ran across like that video at some point, right, on the internet somewhere, and it was just like, oh my goodness, graphics, just you've never seen anything like this. So very excited to play it. I wouldn't say I was a hardcore Doom fan. I mean, I played Doom every time I could at a friend's house. This back to the Mormon thing. I had to play it in secret because it was definitely not okay. Especially Doom 2 when you fight Satan at the end. There's a lot of people that didn't like that.
Couldn't imagine why.
A lot of adults. So
yeah.
But by the time Doom 3 came out, I had a little bit more freedom. Played it roughly at launch on a friend's computer that was very capable. Yeah, I had never played anything like Fear or anything in that direction. So to me, it was kind of really fresh. I did not care that it wasn't, however you want to define Doom 1 and 2. I didn't care because it was an awesome new game with awesome graphics. The lighting was cool and there was monsters and it was awesome. I loved it. Wasn't tapped into the gaming culture, the gaming lexicon like we are now. So I was oblivious to really all the friction. Just enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. My experience is somewhat similar to yours, Kade. I got Doom 3 when I got my first gaming PC ever, which was a gaming laptop. So it was about a year after it came out, looking at the release date. So it was probably sometime in 2005. I got a gaming laptop. I bought it as part of a bonus for joining the military. And I got Doom 3 and Rome Total War with the laptop because I wanted to give it a test run and see how it would look. I tried playing Doom 3 and I had a pretty good time with it. I did not make it very far, but I did enjoy it. The reason I did not make it very far was because Rome Total War kept stealing my attention, and that game was and is still crack. So that's my experience with Doom 3 is another game completely stealing my time and then finally getting back to it now for this episode to talk about it during our Hell Month and just continue the Doom chain of events so we can eventually talk about Doom 2016 next year. That's pretty much the distinct purpose we're talking about these Doom games, by the way, so we can speed right to 2016 when we're ready to. We don't have anything getting in our way, for those who are curious. That's the discussion that we had. So Shane, Mr. Doom, what's your personal experience with Doom 3?
I got it on release because I was like, holy shit, it's fucking Doom 3. I was a huge was and also am a pretty big Doom fan. And so this was back at the time when I still had my subscription to PC Gamer magazine. So every month I would get my fresh copy, get all the hot goss on what's going on in the gaming industry, upcoming games, shit like that. For the record, adjacent but not entirely related, but I actually really miss those days of not just having a constant like barrage of fucking information. Like looking forward to getting like a magazine once a month to like be like, man, what's going on now? It's a whole different vibe. But anyway, apart from shaking my fist at clouds, I bought this when it came out, and it was actually on a gaming laptop for me as well, because that was my graduate from high school / going to college present from my family, was a shiny new fucking brick of like an Acer laptop at the time. Pretty beefy as far as hardware specs go for 2004. And I do recall that Doom 3 definitely pushed that laptop, I think, to its limits, because like at the time the graphics were pretty intense. So but yeah, I remember playing this in my room with all the lights off, with headphones on, get the full experience. And I recall at first, and of course my memory of all of this is kind of hazy because I'm fucking 40 and this was 20 something years ago. But like I vaguely remember having some of those initial thoughts of being like, wow, this looks fucking amazing. And like, this is cool. But also there was a part of me a little bit, they're just like, this is not really the same as like Doom and Doom 2. Cause I'd been playing those a lot over several years before this. And so I kind of had that feeling, but I didn't stick with that. I wasn't one of the ones that was just like, well, I'm not going to play this because it's not the same. Even then, I remember really enjoying the entirety of the game for what it was. I think there was a part of me that sort of lamented a little bit that this wasn't basically just, Doom, but with better graphics. That they kind of took this more, survival horror-y kind of approach to it. But yeah, that was not and is not a hill that I would die on, let's just say. But I do remember enjoying it quite a bit. And that year, as Kade pointed out, was a fucking banger for video game releases, or even just FPSs. When you get this, Half-Life 2 and Halo 2, good Lord. Like, I remember my first semester of college seeing the fucking wires running out of people's dorm rooms to play Halo 2 on LAN, and it was a glorious time in gaming history.
It was a dark time for FPS haters like me.
Hey, you had Rome Total War. You could have your fucking nerd simulator, whatever.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay. Well, now we're going to get to the story of what Doom 3 is, which is interesting because, well, we'll get into it. All right. This is from the manual from the Xbox version of the game. By the way, you know what's funny, Shane, is all the headers on the Xbox when it's going section by section. Do you want to know what kind of font Doom uses?
Is it the Diablo font?
It is the Diablo font.
I figured. Yeah.
Fuck me. All right. It's just called introduction. They don't call it story. You are a Marine, one of Earth's toughest, hardened in combat and trained for action. Shortly after you report for duty at the Union Aerospace Corporation's Mars Research Facility, a massive demonic invasion overwhelms the base, leaving chaos, horror, and uncertainty in its wake. As one of only a few survivors, you must use overwhelming firepower and all of your combat skill to battle through the demon hordes, find out what went wrong, and prevent the evil from spreading. Only you stand between hell and earth. Pretty to the point, I would say. Now, one of the things about Doom 3's story is that it actually tries to tell one, which is something that previous Doom games did not do. This was not something they did. So, with that in mind, we'll start with Shane here because we started with Kade twice. What did you think of the plot to Doom 3?
I mean, for what it is, I actually think they did a pretty great job of expanding on the original's like lore, because I mean, we've talked about this already, right? In a previous episode. I mean, it's a boomer shooter. It's basically just like, there's stuff that you should kill. You should go kill it. And they don't necessarily expand too much on it. And it's whatever. I don't think you fucking needed to, but it's like, hey, we were doing some experiments with teleportation and we opened a portal to hell and now you got to kill all the demons. Great. All right. That's good enough for me. They took that and really just blew that out into a much bigger story, with a ton of different like actual characters and these like plot lines throughout. And I, for the most part, taking like what is a very threadbare plot originally and really fleshing it out like this, I actually think they did a pretty good job. There wasn't really anything that I came across that I can recall from my most recent playthrough to talk about it here that I was like, that feels kind of weird, or like, that's unnecessary, or, something that didn't age well or whatever. I think for the most part, I think it was pretty solid. I mean, there's definitely a discussion to be had, even though at the time, I wouldn't say it was like new, but it was at least new enough that it wasn't like a trope of the, finding audio logs thing.
Yeah.
Some people hate that. And that's valid. I think it's fine. Like, I actually liked picking them up and listening to the voice acting to like add more, flavor to the story of like what's going on and, things like that. So no, overall, I'm pretty impressed with it for what little they had to work with.
I'm going to agree with a lot of what you said. I think that the storytelling was mostly well done. I like the audio logs, but you could tell that they were clearly inspired by System Shock 2. That was something they probably found a lot of familiarity with when designing the game's storytelling. The cutscenes were okay. The thing is, I just found it very inconsequential. A lot of the story beats that they did do were just kind of repeating the same things over and over again. We went into a sulfuric portal and everyone came back as zombies. Audio log 2. The zombies started attacking us. Audio log 3. Oh, they're Satan spawn. Next character. We went into another portal. Things got bad. It's like, I get it. Right? Like, things are bad. Things are weird.
Okay.
That was every single audio log.
That is not true. I feel like that's a little reductive.
I will respond to this. Keep going.
I feel like it's a little reductive. I mean, I
am being reductive. I don't care.
Okay.
I'll admit I'm being
at least
reductive.
Admit to it. That's fine. But I mean, I
because
think
like
there was enough
granular details, sure. But I mean, ultimately, that's kind of what it was.
I mean, sure, because that's like the thing that fucking happened. But I mean, you still get a lot of different perspectives. You get audio logs from like the maintenance staff talking about like, God, I gotta go down to this fucking Delta quadrant or whatever to fix this thing, and I sure as shit don't want to because those people are fucking weird and they creep me out, and there's like noises in the walls, and like I don't get paid enough for this shit. And then you get stuff from like the medical staff, like the interview one that is playing on a computer. It's just playing out loud in one of the rooms that you go into. That one is particularly good. I liked the progression of like the 2 or 3 like patient interviews they had, and listening to the guy just like slowly devolve into just a brainless zombie. Like, I don't know, man. I thought there was a lot there.
I didn't see those. I did like the little updates that you got, like the commercial style videos that gave you little tutorials or how to pick up weapons or how they advertise themselves out to the public and stuff like that. I thought that shit was cool. Like kind of building UAC, lore around
like
the game.
Corporate videos.
Yeah, I thought that shit was fucking great.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, you're right. Like, yes, there are a different variety of perspectives in those audio logs, but you get like 5 or 10 people, it feels like, in each situation who are more or less saying the same thing in each of the audio logs. I mean, you could find this cool, you could find it not, but having to sit through like 2-minute audio logs just to hear the combo to a safe was irritating. Fortunately, most of them,
I mean, like, you could just put your PDA down and keep walking and it'll play, right?
Yeah, I know, but I don't like doing that because paying attention to things and shooting things at the same time kind of gets a little distracting. But well, like, what I did like is there's a lot of effort put into it. There's a lot of effort put into crafting it because you also get like emails that you can read in your PDAs, your early 2000s PDAs that are still in the future. Like you're still like getting scams from gambling sites is the thing. It felt genuine. Like they actually
for,
tried
like, dick pills.
Yeah. Like all these things, I felt like they really put an effort to make this world feel lived in and genuine. And that I appreciate. I thought that was cool. That was a really nice touch. But overall, I thought that the story is generally inconsequential. I didn't really care about any of the characters whatsoever. I don't think you're supposed to. It doesn't impact my overall feeling towards the game. I just felt like the story wasn't a side for people who wanted to get into the lore, which is fine.
I just want to point out real quick before Kade does his thing that back in the day, you could actually go to martianbuddy.com and it was like mocked up to be like an actual site. And I think that's actually how you found the code for the 2 Martian Buddy crates that are in the game. Unfortunately, they still own that URL, but the Martian Buddy website is no longer. It just redirects you to the official Bethesda Doom page, which is actually kind of disappointing.
No.
But
yeah, they should have kept it in all its URL glory, like original early 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was pretty cool at the time.
Oh. Cade, you look like you have something to say.
Actually, I don't. You guys have already said all my points, so good job.
Like, what am I even here?
I have fucking nothing to add, really. I was going to rebuttal to Chris that maybe the audio logs themselves are a little redundant, but the world and lore building was really good. The emails and the commercials, and they really fleshed out the UAC and about like how shitty of a corporation they are, which is a lot more formulaic now than it was at the time. A lot of things, yes, you had System Shock prior to this, but for me, I hadn't played System Shock. So a lot of this type of storytelling was really new to me when I played it. So I thought it was very cool. I thought the doctor being in league with hell, and then the switch when you find out the sergeant guy that's giving you orders double crosses you. That's formulaic now in hindsight, but at the time didn't feel that formulaic. The Soul Cube kind of being like the marker in Dead Space, precursing that.
There is a lot of Dead Space feeling. I was just thinking that.
So I think it did a lot of like this idea of there's like your main narrative, right? This is the story you get in cutscenes. And then there's like the second tier, which is what the Souls games are really good at, is like your non-required viewing world building. It's whether you want to pay attention to it or not. I would echo what you said. They did put a lot of effort into that, handcrafting a lot of stuff that you could just miss. And they tried to flesh out the world and the lore that Doom exists in outside of just like, yep, portal opened. I mean, that is still the gist of the game. Portal opened, demons bad, shoot. But they just added so much more to it. So I would say I agree with both of you. Pretty damn good. All things, I think it would be serviceable today. And at the time was better than serviceable. I mean, a lot of the things we're talking about, I just beat Pragmata outside of the explicit narrative and the cutscenes. The world building techniques are still largely the same. You read emails, you get audio logs, you find notes, you read signs, there's commercials for fake corporations, there's videos playing in the background on auto. You can stop and play them and get more information on the world and the lore. A lot of it is the exact same techniques that Doom was doing. And obviously, you already mentioned Doom didn't invent any of this stuff, but Shane made a good point. It was a lot more fresh when this game came out. It wasn't sort of the standard we see in many games today. And I don't have any problem with this formula. I think people keep using this formula of storytelling because it works, and we enjoy it. The only other thing that I really wanted to bring up is I thought, like, yeah, the switcheroo with Sergeant Kelly. And then just the Soul Cube, I thought was like a cool. I don't know how else to say it other than what I already said. It's sort of like the marker, this cool, scary artifact from a Martian civilization. I thought it was like basically metal at the time. Like, that's badass.
I wish it didn't talk.
Huh?
I don't like it talking. I think that's a little weird.
Use us.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
I forgot. They also did set up. Did you guys play the expansion? I know you're not going to talk about it, but did you play Resurrection of Evil?
Yeah.
So I think that the ending does a pretty good job of setting up the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Like it ties directly into the expansion, which like means they had probably pre-planned or master planned that whole thing, which more handcrafted praise, I would say. Sorry, go ahead.
I was also saying I like some of the events that they do give you an illusion of choice, and it does affect dialogue and how you're talked to later about some key moments. Like, don't do this, like don't send the signal. Now, you're going to go through the same level, same process if you send like the signal to get the people to come and rescue you or not. But some of the dialogue options and how you're talked to later on in the game will alter depending on the choices that you make earlier, which is cool. I mean, it's not complicated, but I do like the fact that there is that level of attention to detail and giving the player some sort of minor agency, even though it's more of an illusion of choice than an actual choice. Little details of that I can appreciate. because it does make the player feel like that they're being valued, and that helps them get more invested in the actual world. That I do appreciate.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because that's maybe the one thing, and it's really nitpicky, but I think that's the one thing that if I had to bring up something I would be maybe a little negative about was actually that choice in particular, just because it isn't a choice at all. Like, I know this game was already very, very ambitious. They tried to do a lot with this, and I think for the most part they succeeded, but I really wish that had actual consequences to the way that the rest of the game played out.
That's fair.
And it just doesn't at all.
Yeah. I do think that the storytelling's better than Clive Barker's Undying.
I'm never gonna get rid of that one.
No. Okay. So let's get into the gameplay. We've kind of been talking about it already. So if people aren't aware, guess what Doom 3 is? It's a first-person shooter.
What?
Shocker. Yeah. I'm just going to let Kade start. We know what fucking Doom is. And now this does have a little bit of variance, and we're going to get into it. We've already kind of talked about it. Kade, what was your overall thoughts on the gameplay?
I think the biggest thing that I found in research that I did not pick up on or think about when I played initially is the flashlight, but I guess that was a fiasco.
Big time. Yeah.
So I missed all of that. So we can talk about that. The flashlight fiasco, the duct tape saga. But from a high level, I thought like the game plays good. Like it felt, I wasn't as big of a Doom fan as Shane, obviously. And so the linear, I liked the linear, more scripted, handcrafted, like you're going through like a theme park ride, a little bit on rails, and you have a little bit of, side questing and a little bit of stuff, but really like you're going to go through the experience we crafted for you. I would say it's closer to like maybe like an Uncharted experience, but for horror. I enjoyed it, like a Dead Space. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I think it achieves the tension it needs to be a horror game. As far as the gunplay and the controls and all that stuff, I don't remember having any negative association with any of that. I did play it again probably like 10 years later with a new beefy PC and a bunch of graphical mods. So taking that aside, played it again, and I think it plays fine. I don't think there's anything. That being said, nothing jumps out to me as like, hey, this is the best controlling or tightest jumping or tightest gunplay or, whereas Doom's 2016 and Eternal, I could talk about the gameplay loop more in depth. So maybe it's like, it's serviceable, it's good, not bad, but also nothing sticks out to me as amazing. It does its job.
Oh yeah, you can jump in this game.
Yeah. Yes. Did you not?
No, because I don't know. Like, no, of course I did, but like I had to think about that and like, wait, you can jump in a Doom game.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't something that occurred to me while I was playing it. That I'm like, oh wait, you can't jump in the other Doom games. Like that just crossed my mind.
I guess to be fair, that got a little muddled for me because the way that I play Doom these days is with the Brutal Doom mod, which allows you to jump. So
I could do a whole episode on the world of Brutal Doom. Good stuff.
But I'm with Kade. I don't know about the flashlight fiasco anymore. Like I played Doom 3 back around the time it came out. So I can't remember how bad the flashlight situation is. I did play the BFG version for this game, mostly because it's pretty much the most accessible version that's out there. I think like on Steam, if you ever bought Doom 3, you got it for free and it's included as part of some Doom pack. And that's the pack I played. So no flashlight issues there. However, just kind of hearing about it, it sounds absolutely dreadful because there are moments in this game where things get too dark and you need your flashlight and your gun out at the same time. So them not doing that is just absolutely what? How did you miss that? But in terms of what I played, and again, this is the BFG edition, so this is going to probably, affect my mindset when it comes to this. Oh my fucking God, it's so fun. This was so much fucking fun. Granted too, I also played on easy mode, but I was having a fucking blast. It's on rails. It was like, I could just run up and fucking blast people with shotguns and you're turning around blasting more motherfuckers with shotguns. This game made me a believer. A full total believer. I can't believe it's taken me this long to fully put my heart into it. I am now team mouse and keyboard. I am fully in it. This game is like just fully convinced me. I was like, I cannot play this motherfucker with the controller. It felt good. Shooting things felt good. Blocking up to a guy and blasting him with a shotgun felt good. Killing those little cherub fuckers with the chainsaw felt good. Killing anything with the chainsaw felt good. It felt better than any other previous Doom game because it actually felt like there was a little bit of feedback to it. I fucking love that. The plasma rifle was my favorite gun throughout this game just because I liked the feeling of shooting it. And then second after that was the chain gun, which had a little bit of a delay in starting up, but you would just like rip through motherfuckers. And like learning enemy patterns, what they did, how to avoid it, like it's a lot more communicable to the player than it is in the original Dooms. I felt like there's a lot more flexibility. Maybe this is where people are bitching about the challenge, but I actually found it to be more accessible while not being a complete pushover. I had so much fun. I had so much fun with this game. I had so much fun with the gameplay. I did not want to put it down. Like the worst parts when it was get to the plot and kind of bog down, or like when you would have to like backtrack into different sections. Those were the only bad parts I had any complaints with. But for the most part, yeah, it always kept you on your... Oh, yeah, and when enemies would just show up in the door after you opened it, like it was trying to be some sort of cheeky jump scare, and it wasn't fucking scary, just irritating because there wasn't much you could do in order to anticipate them being there other than shooting a gun as soon as you opened up every fucking door, which is stupid. But aside from that, yeah, I had just such a great time with this game. It was an absolute joy, and I am now on Team PC controls.
Shit, I don't know if you'd actually like this game if you played it originally.
Probably not.
Let me. All right, gather round, children. Let me tell you of the 2004. So, all right, there's actually quite a few significant changes. So, for the record, I played the BFG edition this time around. It's the first time I've played that edition. I've completed this game, I think, two or three other times. And that was on the original version. Okay. So there are very like materially important changes that the BFG edition made that I think completely change how one would see this game, for better or worse. So the biggest fucking elephant in the room is the flashlight. We've all already said that. The original game, the flashlight was literally a selectable handheld item like any other weapon. And therefore you could either hold a flashlight or you could hold a gun. And I gotta be honest, I actually think I prefer it that way. And here's why.
Really?
Yes. Here's why. So playing the BFG edition, I found myself abusing the absolute shit out of the flashlight. It actually takes away from a lot of the like set moments that happen in the game, because they were doing it under the auspices that you were probably not going to have the flashlight out all the time. And so there were several things that would occur in the game, just like ambient shit, right? Like you go in a hallway and then all of a sudden the lights flicker out and like there's demon runes and pentagrams that like flash along the walls with like whispering and like just cool shit like that happens. That does not have the same effect if you just have a fucking high beam on the whole time. And so I found that I was actually purposefully forcing myself to not turn on the flashlight as much as possible so that I didn't spoil what the game was trying to do as far as like atmospheric things. So that's one thing. Having said that, it is definitely a pain in the dick to have to constantly swap back and forth between a flashlight and a gun, but I think for the game they were trying to make, I now understand better why they did that. I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was an intentional choice that people just didn't like. And for what it's worth, I was in that camp back in the day. I was like, this is fucking annoying. Why do I have to do this? Like as soon as the duct tape mod was available, I was like, yes, please. And I modded the game with that. But in retrospect, I think I can see why. So that's one of the big ones. The other thing, actually, if you can believe this, because the game is already pretty dark across the board, the BFG edition, it actually like added more ambient light sources and just raised the overall brightness and gamma of the game like across the whole board for the BFG edition. So there were like several areas in the game that were basically in total shadow that are actually now completely visible. So it changes a lot of how you approach certain places. If you happen to be playing on console, a lot of the dynamic shadows from the flashlight are also gone because they were trying to get it to hit a locked 60 FPS, but obviously that's not an issue here if you're playing on PC. The other piece is that they did make combat like arguably easier in the BFG edition. Like you get a shit ton more health, armor, and like ammo pickups.
I noticed that was never in short supply.
No. And that was not the case originally. Oh. And so I played this on the like mid-tier difficulty. I wasn't on veteran, but I played it on like the recruit whatever, normal basically.
Okay.
And I never at any point felt like I was short on ammunition or I was like scrounging for health or anything. I was just like, the number of like health fucking machines or whatever, the injectors that were on the walls that I walked by and never used, like I lost track of. And that was not the case before. It was actually way more like paced intentionally to where you were like, I actually kind of need to pay attention to how many shots I'm taking to kill these guys because like I may just fucking run out of bullets for this gun and then I got to go back to an inferior one or what have you. Finding one of those health injector stations on the wall was a fucking godsend in a lot of cases. So it was very much different. Also, the ammo pickups in the BFG edition give you about double the amount of ammo that they did in the original. The other important piece is the game is faster. You, as the character, your base walk and run speeds are increased, and they made your stamina for running last a lot longer than it did in the original. So there's just a ton of things that they tweaked for the BFG edition, which I'm not saying they're bad things. I think, like overall, I think they're probably good changes, but I would be remiss if I said that I didn't think that they like really significantly impact the experience of this game. Like you're not getting the same Doom 3 that you would have gotten if you played this in 2004.
Shit. You're crushing my vibes, man.
No, I mean, like, I'm glad that you liked it. I am. And like, for what it's worth, like like I said, I played the BFG edition to talk about it today and I liked it as well, but I just think it's honestly, it's actually closer because I think they took the criticism. It's closer to what people wanted it to be as far as like, it should be more like Doom where it's more runny and gunny. And this version absolutely is.
Okay. Makes sense. Kate, have you played both versions?
No, I never played BFG.
Oh, okay. So do you know what Shane's talking about here? Like, is it a much more slow experience? Or are you running out of ammo?
Yeah,
a lot
when you
more
were
often?
like, I was loving running around blasting people. I was like, that's not what it was like for me, but okay. Like to me, it was a much more methodical, conserve your ammo, like every encounter. I mean, I remember the game I played it twice, like fairly, not like crazy difficult, but you couldn't just be like lax. It's not a power fantasy, which is sort of what it sounded like you were describing. I don't know if
yes.
Yeah, it's definitely not power fantasy for me.
Okay. Well, the other thing is this is what I want to mention about this is that the original Doom has that Doom 3, has that been completely delisted?
No, you can still play it. It's part of it's on Steam still.
You can buy the original Doom on Steam because I have Doom 3 and I go to the store page in my library and it says that you can't buy it anymore.
If you go to the Doom 3 listing, if you read the listing, it says that as part of the BFG edition like pack, you get in the BFG edition, you get Doom 1 and 2, the originals, just like baked into it as options on the menu, right? But then you also as part of it, you also do get the original Doom 3 plus the Resurrection of Evil expansion. So you can play them separately.
Huh. I didn't know it came with it. I had no idea that you could only get the BFG edition.
I think that's the thing. I think they consolidated it down to that, and you just buy one thing and get all of it.
That's probably the case. Yeah. I'd imagine so. Like, it's an interesting thing because right now he's even saying like buy Doom Classic Bundle.
Mm-hmm.
And when I bring up Doom 3 in my launcher, it says I can play Doom 1 and 2 as well. But here it says it's not in my library, which doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I had one other thing I wanted to talk about on the gameplay, because most of what I was just saying was like information dump. But as somebody who played a lot of Doom, I actually don't love the gunplay in this one.
Oh, okay.
It's fine, but it lacks the punch that I would expect from a Doom game. I think one of the most disappointing things for me is the shotgun. Actually, it's I could play and have actually I could play the original Doom with just nothing but the shotgun, because that shotgun is the fucking best gun in almost any game ever. It feels so good to use. It's fucking amazing. And the shotgun in this game sucks balls.
Fuck you. The original. I thought the BFG was fine.
No, even in the BFG edition, I used almost any other gun except the shotgun, because now, granted, remember, I didn't play this on the easiest difficulty, so I'm sure shotguns were like one shot, one kill for a lot of stuff for you.
Yeah,
it was not for me.
Awesome.
It was imps would, unless you were like feeling his fucking breath on your face, like a shotgun would take at least 2 or 3 shots to take an imp down, for example. And so the power wasn't there as far as like the damage that the shotgun I think should do, but also, and this is across the board, I'm picking on the shotgun just because it's so fucking underwhelming to me, but like for the most part, all of the guns don't have that like same feedback that I would expect and you get from the original Doom. I just didn't feel it here. It felt very floaty. Like it doesn't they don't feel like they have weight. And that's weird to me, especially for a Doom game.
I didn't get that feeling at all. I don't, maybe it's just because I have more limited experience, but I felt that they had ample amount of weight. I thought they felt really good. Again, just could be my own lack of experience getting in the way here.
Yeah,
Any feelings on that over the game?
They're not bad. Okay, I want to be clear. It's not that they're bad. It's just that I guess I had a higher expectations for it, and I feel like it didn't quite reach there.
I will say, like, the chain gun kind of felt like that. The chain gun felt a little light.
Yeah,
a little too
definitely.
light. Yeah.
I have one other quick thing on gameplay I wanted to point out, which is the interactivity with a lot of things, particularly the screens and the computers. I remember thinking it's cool, like, oh, I can control a computer in a computer, like an in-game computer. That was pretty novel for the time.
Did you guys also go around and make sure you clicked all of the like back up your data prompts on all of all the machines?
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking do anything, but it's just like, nope, I got to do that. I'm helping these guys out, I guess.
Saving the day, preserving Mars.
Right. Just unlocking doors, toggling lights, weapon lockers. That's pretty standard now. But I remember thinking it was really novel and cool when I played it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So before we move on, because we actually haven't really touched on this at all, and it was probably also going to be the subtitle for this episode till we came up with a better one, we need to talk about the monster closet problem, because it's kind of a problem a little bit.
I kind of talked about that. Yeah, but go for it.
Yeah.
You have more detail here.
It's one of the things that people brought up back in the day when this came out, was that was the term going around, was monster closets, because that's what it fucking is. Like it's like the commentary that I had when we played the original what the fuck was it, not Call of Duty, but Medal of Honor. I remember this distinctly. We were having a conversation about the gameplay, and I was like, yeah, there are just houses that are completely fucking empty, and the only reason they're there is to serve as spawn points. That's weird. And it's kind of the same thing here where there's no logical reason for that place to be there other than it is literally just a container for a monster to pop out of. That's all it is. And it happens a lot. And I get what they were going for, right? They're like, well, it's more of a horror thing. And so we need to like jump scare them with, they come around a corner and an imp pops out of the wall and shoots fireballs. Like, okay, fine. Yes. In a weird way, it actually, for all the effort that went into this game, because there was a lot, I feel like that's one of the laziest things that they could have done, was just like, we're not even going to try to, and this isn't in all cases. There's actually one really cool thing that happens towards the end of the game where you go up to a computer terminal on a desk and one of those like upside down head spider things crawls out from behind the fucking monitor on the desk. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That was cool, but that is rare. Most of the time when a monster comes out of nowhere, it is literally just like a little space that was carved out in the wall solely for them to hang out in there until you come up. And that's weird. Like, it's weird. And it kind of gets played out by the time you get through the entirety of this game. And your point with like hey, what if we just threw dudes like right on the other side of a door to cheap shot your face, like when you open the door? Also, not the greatest design philosophy. The way that I got around that was about halfway through the game, I started just going up to every door that I could open and coming at it like diagonally from like the corner of the door so that I could get close enough to trigger it to open, but not be standing directly in front of it. That actually worked out pretty well. But yeah, I think that's the only thing that I would probably like pick on really is that, like, to me, that like haunted house ass kind of approach to like, let's just have things jump out of like holes in the walls feels a little lazy, if I'm being honest.
No, I agree. And there's other problems too, like going into an area to pick up a weapon or an item and just to find yourself swarmed by enemies that weren't there before. That's another problem. Or like you've cleared out an area and then all of a sudden more monsters are in that area and you don't even have like the summoning circles that pop up. They're just there. Why are they there? Because you're in another area and this area is the way you need to go. So we're going to fill it with monsters so you can, you know, you're going the right way almost. And I think that's a little lazy too. I think it's helpful to the player because now you know that you're going the right way, but at the same time, it's taking away a little bit of player agency, which just means in those cases, they maybe should have done better level design instead of just throwing more monsters at you in an area where you already cleared out tons of demons. I would make that criticism as well. One last thing I just want to have, this is a nitpick thing, is that some of the enemies, they do like to get in close and do melee. And when they do melee, they like to crouch, and then shooting at them becomes a gigantic pain in the ass. It just becomes no fun at all. Especially those little cherub things, the spider things. Just like when enemies get up close to you, like I don't feel like the rate of fire is enough to compensate for them to get up close to you like that. And not really having a quick access melee weapon like you do have in a Halo, where you can attack them with the butt of your weapon in order to kind of get them off you, does get irritating at some points. But that's a nitpick. That's just me. That is a get good thing. But ultimately, I didn't really like that perspective. That kind of gameplay.
I agree with you actually, and I'll actually expand on that a little bit. It's weirdly counter to what I said earlier about the gunplay feeling like sort of floaty. There wasn't enough impact from my guns, but when enemies would come up and melee you fucking, the camera goes buck wild. Holy shit. Well, not only does it hurt, but your camera, like, and I get it, right? Like, it's trying to be realistic. Like, you just got slashed by a fucking demon, so your vision goes all over the fucking place. Like, sure, yes, I understand. But also, like, there were times where I almost just straight up died because I had like two guys that got up too close to me and they were just taking turns hitting me. And every time they hit me, your view goes all over the fucking place. and it makes it almost impossible to shoot correctly. That just feels kind of weirdly imbalanced. And I don't know if maybe that's a intentional punishment for be like, hey, you have like 10 fucking guns. You probably shouldn't have let this thing get this close to you. Like maybe that's it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Anything to add, Kate?
Not for this section. No, sir.
Sweet. All right, so let's get into the graphics here next. Let's move on. Talk about the visual presentation. I'll take this subject on full first. I thought, now, once again, BFG edition, playing on modern hardware, probably a lot of updates, a lot of patches, so on and so forth. I thought the game looked great. When I was playing it on stream on Twitch, we had some people show up and said that it looked like a game from the Fear era. I thought it looked a little bit better than that, but I had to take things into context that, the period it did come out and the advantages it did have. But ultimately, I even remember playing this back in 2004, and I'm just thinking to myself, this game is drop dead gorgeous. If you look at things now, if you go back then and you take a look at it, it's very similar to Quake 4. I understand that I think this was made with the Quake 4 engine. They're on the same engine, which makes sense, which means character models and faces look really fucking weird. But everything else in terms of the environment, in terms of the monsters, everything like that, they look amazing. But it's not a perfect thing. There are some things that take you out of it. Like I said, the human character models. But I think that's of the understanding that was not the primary focus of the game. And rightly so. So I think this is a very visually impressive game. I do like the game use of light, which is probably why Shane appreciates the ability to manipulate the flashlight as it was in the original. I do think it does provide a creepy atmosphere. The environments and the settings are mostly a little redundant, a little too similar. I do like when they swap it up, like when you go outside and you see Mars, but for the most part, there's not a lot of variety in the level design, unfortunately, I would say. But at the same time, it still looks fine. I did find the environments to meet my expectations and everything like that. So very good looking game. Very, very, very good looking game. Of course, for the time period, as we need to say, because nowadays, like Doom 2016 blows this thing straight out of the fucking water. But I think you go back, it holds up in its own right in many ways. How about yourself, Kate? What do you think?
Yeah, on a technical level, Doom 16 blows it out of the water. I actually prefer the art direction and the aesthetic of Doom 3 over the modern. I mean, I love the modern Doom games, and I've just actually reinstalled Dark Ages because I'm going to get the new DLC. I love them, but just in the sense of only critiquing the art direction and the style, I think the more darker horror gritty style I just like. Just biased. I generally like things that direction, where Doom 2016 is kind of like a mature Saturday morning cartoon art direction, which is also cool. I just think the Doom 3 art direction is cooler. The other thing I wanted to bring up is the lighting at the time was really hyped. They did a lot of marketing around it being, quote, real-time lighting. Now, when you hear that phrase today, that is usually something around path tracing or ray tracing. So depending on how you define real-time lighting, Doom 3 maybe wouldn't fit into that definition today, because what they really did is they got rid of baked lighting and they did some shadow maps, shadow bumps, and some per pixel lighting, which was new. Long story short, it explains why the game was so dark, because when you do pre-baked lighting, you can simulate the way the light would bounce and fill up a room, and then you just kind of set that in stone. Doom didn't have that, and it didn't calculate bounce lighting. So if there was not a direct light on it, it's fucking black. End of story. So that kind of explains why the game looks like the way it did, or the way it does. Now, they adjusted a lot of this, and they added more lights, and they added more technology in the BFG edition. I looked that up while you were talking, because I wanted to know, Shane mentioned that they brightened it up, and they added more lights. They also did more stuff technically under the hood to get better global illumination. So the BFG edition looks better and that, more accurate global illumination. But the original version, that's where a lot of that, the flashlight fiasco comes from. If there was no direct light, it's basically pitch black. And that was a limitation of how. Now, Carmack gets a lot of credit for coming up with this. I don't quite follow. In my notes, I had this like reverse shadow technique that was apparently groundbreaking at the time. I'm not going to pretend to understand how it works, but it's called Carmack's Reverse. And he gets a lot of love for it being super ingenious to get more bang and efficiency out of the hardware at the time. So it got some love for that, but also some critique of this is why the game is so dark, is it can't do global illumination. And in order to have shadows move and be in air quotes real time, they could only do it one light source and one direct light at a time. So pretty big, like pretty ambitious if all things considered. And obviously I think ID Tech, it's like certain franchises and certain brands, there's an expectation that when they have a new game come out, it's going to be cutting edge graphically. And so they went for it in this game, for better or worse.
I like that. This is a lot of good information. I'm going to pretend I understood what you were saying because I am not that good at those things. But I'm sure our audience understands it a lot better than I did because I'm stupid. Shane probably understood a lot of that. So Shane, what's your thoughts on the graphical presentation?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like even not talking about the BFG edition with its like updates or whatever, like the original game was like nothing anybody had seen up till that point, quite literally, when it came out, for the reasons that, Kate mentioned. Everything prior to this, including the previous, id Tech engines, were just like pre-rendered light maps. And then with id Tech 4, because they wanted to show this off, that's why they have the whole flashlight thing. All of those illuminations and things are calculated dynamically, which is why you get all of those really great shadows cast on fucking everything. I don't know like the ins and outs of the trick that Carmack did. I just know that it was, what the fuck was it? Like a stencil shadow thing, I think. And he found out some way, like algorithmically, to basically make it so that, you could more or less trick the graphics card's like stenciling buffer so that it didn't eat extra cycles and slow the game down. Because that's Carmack's fucking thing. He's a computer genius. So like he figured out some way to do that. And that was the thing that everybody like lauded him for this, was like he was able to get this dynamic lighting thing happening in this engine without like a giant performance hit. Now, having said that, the game was still a fucking beast at the time. Like it pushed hardware to its limits when it came out. So graphically, it was, and to me still is, very impressive, not just from like the purely technical standpoint, but I think I always really appreciate when a game has like a cohesive vision for what it wants to do, what it wants to be, like what it wants to look like. And though I will say that like the aesthetic choices that this game makes, like, is very, very like early mid-aughts ass looking, like Gears of War-y space gritty shit.
Oh no, pre-Gears of War. Like Gears of War, I think the character models look way better.
Oh, I don't mean that. I don't mean like from a fidelity standpoint. I mean the aesthetic choice that they made. Everything is very like metal and steel and grit, and like it feels very 2004, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Whereas like Kade was saying, there's a different feel that you get with like Doom 2016. It's not quite as, I guess, industrial, for lack of maybe a better term. Now, having said that,
I like that. It is more industrial. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. Good way to put it.
And having said that, like I do really like the presentation style that they did go with here. I think it fits it really well. And you do get like a pretty nice juxtaposition, right? Like you start out with this very sort of like sterile, space base, metal and rivets and fucking computer screens and whatever. And then as time goes on, things start very clearly devolving, and then you get blood on the walls and guts everywhere. And then eventually hell itself starts taking over like the actual base. And so you do get this gradual descent that I think visually is very striking, which I do appreciate. And counter to what I said about Doom 64, I actually really like the evolution of the monsters in this, like from like a model perspective from Doom 1 and 2.
The models are great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
They're fantastic. Like, and they don't feel like cheesy. I think that's the thing that bothered me about Doom 64 is like some of them just felt kind of weirdly cheesy. And so this definitely doesn't have that. In some ways they felt very much almost like just natural evolutions of, hey, if like the fucking, you know, imp was rendered in higher fidelity, what would it look like? And you're like, yeah, no, this makes sense. This is basically what I would think this would look like. I mean, of course I would hope so, right? It's their fucking thing, but you could run the risk of things looking very odd, especially when you go for that very like, you know, hard realism approach that doesn't always age particularly well. But I think the character models with some of the humans notwithstanding, because you brought that up already, the faces look odd.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess they thought that glasses in 2145 or whatever, where everyone was just going to wear wraparound Oakleys for some fucking reason. But anyway, other than that, yeah, no, I think overall this game looks fantastic. I mean, it did then. It was impressive. And now I still think it's actually aged pretty well, even if you don't play with mods or the BFG edition. I think the original still stands up pretty well today.
Mm-hmm. I love visual tour de forces. So I can always appreciate it. At the end of the day, my inner graphics whore needs feeding. So I'll take it. Let's get into the audio design here. Let's just keep it with you, Shane. What's your thoughts on the audio design?
Oh, it's so good. All right. Again, this is completely polar opposite to what I said in our Doom 64 episode. So the thing that irritated the shit out of me was that the majority of the monsters just had the same sound effects, which to me is a fucking crime. And this was not the case here. They stuck with their original like approach from Doom 1 and Doom 2, where every monster, every demon has a very distinct audio profile so that you know what the fuck is around the corner, even if you haven't seen it. And that is so important, especially in this game or a game like this, where they're leaning so hard into that more methodical survival horror-y kind of approach. Like the number of times specifically with the Revenant that I would listen out for his sound, because he makes a very unique sound. I lost track because I was like, okay, I'm about to get fucking barraged. I need to swap to my plasma gun because I know I can like reliably spray that more to kind of knock the rockets out of the air so I don't get my face blasted off. And it's those tactical decisions based purely on nothing but the audio is just chef's kiss. It's so well done. And the ambient audio in this game is great. Like it's so good.
Yep. Kate?
Yeah, I would say, based on my memory, the only thing that was disappointing to me or is disappointing to me is that Reznor was supposed to do the soundtrack and some audio for this game. And I found a quote, because I remember some stuff about it, some hype about it, and then it not coming through, and remember some chatter. Hollandhead, I don't know who he is. I found this quote somewhere in id or publishing. Reznor's time is valued in Rockstar dollars, and they didn't want to basically pay Reznor because he had done Quake, right? But he was, more expensive by this time came around. So that's a little bit of like a cool what if. I didn't know this until doing research for the game. You can find his original work. It leaked because he did start working on the game and then didn't finish it because they couldn't come to a deal. And there's a mod and there's some repos that have it, and you can put some of that stuff back into the game. As far as like what I found online, sound design is arguably the most agreed on positive thing about the game. Basically what Shane said is echoed all over the internet where I was looking. So I don't really have much to add. Then Shane is not alone, and there seems to be a pretty big consensus that the audio is awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to appropriately said echo a lot of that. And normally when we come into these sound discussions, the first thing we usually talk about, almost exclusively we talk about in retro games, particularly older ones, is the soundtrack. I don't have really anything to say about the soundtrack because I can't remember if there's an actual soundtrack to be heard. I'm sure there is. But the thing is like there's just so much more going on that I don't really even need one. It's just like the audio design from everything that's surrounding you, especially with headphones, which is how I played this because I played this entirely on stream. Go subscribe to our Twitch channel. Like all I remember is just how good the sound was and how spatial the audio was, knowing where monsters were, what type of monsters were. Like you said, the gunplay felt light. And I think that's one of the reasons I enjoyed the gunplay and it didn't feel too light to me is because the sounds matching up with the actual guns were really good too. Just I can't think of a single flaw when it comes to sound in this game. I think that it was just perfectly executed. So, I mean, and I'm not even talking about the soundtrack. I have nothing to say about the soundtrack. Just everything else that was, designed sonically for this game is top-notch, top-tier stuff.
The plasma rifles particularly, I think sounds so awesome.
I think that's why I love using it, because the sound gives it weight. It does.
It sounds like...
And even landing.
Yeah, I'd expect some super secret government high-tech weapon. Sounds dope.
Yeah, it does. It sounds really good.
Especially when you reload it.
Oof.
When you pop like the shell or whatever the case or whatever the fuck off. That sounds so good.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, I have no complaints about anything whatsoever in terms of the audio.
They have a lot of ambient sound too, like your hissing pipes and just world. We talked earlier about building the world in terms of lore and having your fake commercials from different corporations and videos. They do a lot of audio world building. It's not in the sense of lore, but just selling the space with ambient sounds. And I don't think you can do this in the options, but one of my favorite things to do in modern games, sometimes they will give you in the audio options the slider between sound effects and then ambient audio. Most of the time they're combined together, where I like to churn the ambient audio up, but a lot of times that also churns up your gunshots and they're too loud. I like the sound of ambience. And I think the mix in Doom 3, particularly, they exaggerated those ambient sounds probably more than is realistic because they wanted to bring that out. But I actually prefer that mix wise. And if a game allows me to do that, I will adjust it accordingly. Just that's one of those things that doesn't happen very often. It's usually your ambient background and your sound effects are combined into one. But I never felt like I had to do that with Doom because all the ambient sounds were already pretty loud. And I think it's because they were trying to sell that scary atmosphere, this horror vibe. And I appreciate that. That's like a bias I have, and a lot of games don't do that out of the box. So some might argue that that's like not a quote good mix, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
That actually just reminded me of something, and it sort of bridges between gameplay and audio, but I'm curious if you guys, A, remember experiencing this, and B, if you had any thoughts about it. So there's one time in particular, but this comes up, I think, at least 2 or 3 times throughout the game in some fashion, where I feel like they're alluding to a subplot that never happened. And I'm curious if it was supposed to be more, or if it's just there to be like, we're just adding more spoop flavor to this game. Specifically, there's a hallway where you walk into the hallway and then, everything turns red, the lights flicker off and blah, blah, blah. And you hear this girl/young woman whispering to you to like follow, and you see these bloody footsteps and you follow it to a door, and the door's locked and you can't get past the door. But as soon as you get to that door, you hear like faint baby crying, and you hear her say like, "They took my baby." But like nothing comes of that. So like, I don't know if I missed something or if that was just like, hey man, this hallway is a really great opportunity to do some freaky shit. Like, did you guys remember that at all?
Yes, I remember that. I was wondering if there's going to be a bigger point to it at some something.
Like I thought it was some subplot that they were gonna like, and it seemed like it went nowhere. And the reason I thought of it was just because like the
weird demon shit.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I think. Yeah, but like. What made me think of it was you were talking about just like the ambient audio and all that stuff, and like the wisp, like you'd get those random whispers of like help and things like that. But that was one that felt like more than just like a rando sound effect. Clearly, it was like this is a whole thing, and then it feels like it went nowhere. I don't know. It was weird. But then I don't know. Like I feel conflicted about it because on one hand I'm like, oh, I kind of wish that maybe there was this like little subplot that happened that would lead you to something, and that would have been cool. But then on the other hand, it's like, I don't know. Actually, it's kind of cool that it's just like there's no explanation. It's just some scary shit that happened. Like that's also kind of a cool take on it. So like I don't know. I feel conflicted.
I actually have some research on this very thing. I'm glad you brought it up.
Oh, good.
Oh, thank you, Kade.
Yeah, I'm draining Utah of its water and running AI bots doing comprehensive research for.
Fine, you guys have a whole lake, whatever.
Send hate mail to Kade. Send it his direction.
But have AI write the email.
Yeah, send hate mail to me. So I have it aggregate a bunch of research, and then I kind of look through it and decide, what I want to make a video on, or if I want to at all. Just like basically go out and find me all the cool facts you can find. This one came up because it found a lot of stuff about the flashlight fiasco, and there was some claim from the Doom side, from Carmack's side, which got them in trouble that it was a technical limitation. And then the freaking duct tape mod came out like 3 days later.
Yeah.
So there was this debate about like what was intentional and what was accidental. But in that same kind of batch of media and interview, they were talking about things they did intentionally. They talked about that they had this idea that if hell did come, that hell wouldn't offer you closure. There'd be lots of weird, unexplained things because it was like fucking with the fabric of reality or whatever. And so they put random shit in there that didn't really go anywhere just to like put you on edge and for you to be like, what the fuck was that? Like that was the point.
Yeah.
Now the crying baby.
I love that answer.
The crying baby is this chick. I didn't know this. I looked it up. Her name is Aubrey Hodges, and she worked on the PlayStation. And that crying baby sample was like in the PSX Final Doom, and they put that in there as like an Easter egg.
Aubrey Hodges is a dude.
Oh well, it sounds like Aubrey. So I said
he did the music for the PS1 and Doom 64. So
okay.
The PS1 version of Doom.
Sorry, Aubrey. I didn't. Your name. I assumed your gender as female. I apologize.
Jesus Christ, Kate.
But I didn't know this until like I was just scrolling through on my notes. Like I swear there was something in here about this crying baby. I remember reading it. Yeah, it was an Easter egg to the PlayStation.
Okay. No, that's actually the perfect answer. I love that was the reason they did it. I think that's the best answer to that of just like, yeah, I don't know, man, shit's fucked. Like, yeah, all right, sure. There was that one, and then the empty elevator shaft one. That one was fucking cool too. Where like you come up to that elevator shaft and you hear like the voices coming from the shaft, and then when you get close enough, it spawns an imp directly behind you. And if you like flip out because you got caught off guard, you fall down the fucking elevator shaft. Obviously you die, but like you hear like the demonic laughing like in the elevator shaft of like a haha, we tricked your ass kind of a thing. Like, I don't know, just cool shit like that.
I do agree. I remember thinking both times I played it, now that you brought it up, like, is there going to be like a possession or a crazy mechanic or something like you lose touch of reality? If like are they going to build on this more? Like, do you go crazy? Do you get possessed? They didn't. Like, it was just more of like a tension builder. So I think you could argue a lot of people maybe felt like something was cut or undercooked, like they were going to go somewhere with it, because it can be interpreted that way. But according to them, but then at the same time, they also said that you couldn't get a flashlight for technical limitations, and the community did it in 3 days. So you take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I think the reason there's that expectation is because so often games just give you an answer.
Yes,
it's always a way the thread goes to, or there was something that they planned doing that, they hid behind it. And now there's like code that indicates that was the plan to do. That is so often the answer, but I actually prefer that answer because that is that is valid. That goes along with, hell mythology and everything like that. And the more that you talk about it, the more it does make me feel like, oh my God, I wonder how much Dead Space got from this game, or how much this game got from like a System Shock 2 or something like that, because you do get a lot of those elements in both of those games. So when you're like talking about it, like it instantly gave me Dead Space vibes. So much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I want to play Dead Space. I want to do Dead Space 2 now. I don't know.
Well, as long as we don't then eventually do Dead Space 3, the game that was talked about and never came out, much like Indiana Jones 4. Yep.
Heard about it. Heard it exists. Are we ready to move on to the patron pontifications?
Yeah. I wanted to bring up one thing that came to my mind real quick. Shane
yes, but no.
Yes, no. Yeah. Thank you for putting up with me. Shane brought up there's been nothing like it at the time. And I remember feeling that, and then it came to my memory. There was one precursor game that got me hyped about lighting that came out 2 years prior. Can you guys guess what it is? 2 years.
1999. No,
2004 is when Doom 3 came out.
2 years prior. Yeah.
So 2002, this game came out and kind of did a similar lighting thing. And everyone lost their shit about it. It was one of the reasons I was hyped for Doom 3.
I don't know. I can't think of what it is
look
now.
up games of 2002.
It'll be obvious if you look the games up in 2002. Games built all around lighting and sneaking and stealth. There's your hint.
Oh, is it fucking Metal Gear Solid 2?
No.
Well, then
Splinter Cell. God damn it.
I was just about to say Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never played it.
Splinter Cell also was one of the first games where I saw moving shadows in, quote, real time. And not near as, I don't think it's as good as Doom 3's. And I don't know if the under the hood technical wizardry was even done even close to the same way Doom 3 did it. Probably not. But that was when this sort of real-time lighting started coming into age, was these early, we started seeing games that did it. And I just can't understate, like, when you saw this type of thing for the first time, it seemed, pun intended, unreal. Like, how could this be real? I've never seen light like this in a video game. And Doom 3 was an evolution of that. I know this is for the visuals, but at the time, if you can remember, if you played Doom 3 when it came out, as Shane said, it was the bee's knees. Like, people, we don't really get that much anymore. I think with some games, I just saw a new game that came out from the developers of the Ascent. They dropped, that's like a cyberpunk open world game that did feel like kind of like a jump in fidelity and graphics. But something that doesn't happen the same anymore is these huge leaps between generations or new generations or just technology where it's like, oh my God, the new Unreal is out or the new tech demo is out. And that's what Doom 3 felt like. It's like, oh, we've entered a new age, like a new level has been set. And it was a big deal.
Yeah. I think the only thing that may have just kind of subdued it on a bigger scale is you are talking 2004. The Xbox 360 would come out the next year, and I would say Gears of War looks a lot better than Doom 3.
And I did have that same experience when I saw Gears for the first time being played. I just remember I could not pick my jaw up off the floor.
Yeah. I think that's what subdued Doom 3 a little bit, because usually when you have something that visually impressive, and it was visually impressive in 2004, no doubt about it. Like, this was next gen level quality because you were dealing with like Xbox, PS2, GameCube stuff. And even Shane was saying they're trying to, was it Shane or Kade? One of you said that they were trying to lock it in at 60 frames per second. So the Xbox version was a little bit like had some graphical fidelity removed from it, because as powerful the Xbox was for its generation by 2004, and you're now 4 years into the generation, 3 years into the Xbox's life, if I remember correctly. 5 years, actually, because the Dreamcast came out in 99. So these consoles, as rapidly as technology was advancing, they're starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. But I mean, graphics were looking really good. But like, you compare Doom, and by the way, I'm not talking about, I'm talking technical levels. I'm not talking fidelity. Technical levels and fidelity in terms of a technical aspect and what I'm about to say here, not stylistic choice or design. But like on a very technical level, a game like Shadow of the Colossus, which is like peak PS2, which was peak this generation that this game came out, has a lot of elements that are lagging behind a game like Doom 3 in its original format. Just to put in perspective how much further ahead Doom 3 was for the moment. It just so happens to have come out almost immediately before the Xbox 360 and Gears of War, which completely shattered and started like the HD revolution. And I don't want to say revolution, it wasn't that big of a fucking deal, but it really got people looking into HD graphics and really brought people to the forefront of what games could be with the Unreal Engine. Was that UE3 at that point?
Yes.
But yeah. So, I mean, once UE3 came out, then it beat this into the ground. But it did have that moment where, yeah, it stood head and shoulders above everything else, for sure. I don't want to say beaten to the ground either, because we've already said the graphics hold out. And I'm like, no, it was bad. No. I mean, it just was a better product, all things considered. Now let's get into our patron pontifications. What are patron pontifications? Well, if you are a patron of the Retro Hangover podcast and you are in our Discord, then you can leave comments about the game coming up that we're going to be talking about. You'll also likely see some comments in our Patreon if I'm not lazy, if I'm not a lazy piece of shit. You will get some place to post something there too. I got to post it for the next episode. I did post it for Doom 3. We did get one there. So thank you for the person that posted there. We'll get to that. But yeah, go ahead and join our Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And then you could leave comments for the episode like we are about to read now. And right now we're not getting enough comments to exclude anybody. So we're reading all of them. And we're going to be starting with Alt, who is a frequent contributor and almost always one of the first ones to say something. It's between him and Matt, aka Stormageddon. But Alt says, I remember the demo was on the Doom movie DVD with Carl Urban, The Rock, and Rosamund Pike. Oh my God, you bought that DVD? I'm so sorry. It would play if you tossed it into the original Xbox, I think. Really? I need to look this up. That sounds cool as fuck.
Well,
sorry.
It's way cooler than that movie.
Yeah. This is a good game. It's not just Doom. A great horror shooter that would probably succeed more in more recent times. There's mods that basically tape the flashlight onto your gun now, too, which I should look into. I found my love for Doom with the original game and 2016 era games. By the way, it's not a mod. It comes standard now with the BFG edition. So there you go. But thank you, Alt.
I think the important differentiator there is that the BFG edition is a shoulder-mounted light, not a duct taped to your gun light, you know.
Oh, important. That's true. That's true.
Important for the lore.
It did affect aiming a little bit too, but it does.
Yeah. All right, next up we have Lethko, who says Doom 3 traded action for more psychological horror. Not a bad game, but was a direction change for sure, a change that got reversed with Doom 2016. If you want more jump scares in your Doom, then this game is for you, but the trade-off is losing the frenetic pace of the earlier titles. Thank you, Lethko. And real quick, that I didn't mention it, but that reminded me of it, that for all intents and purposes, this really felt like just a natural evolution of Doom 64. Like, I feel like Doom 64 was the bridge between Doom 1 and 2 and this game, if you really think about it. But anyway,
I would agree.
Moving on.
PM SRAM. Doom 3 was revolutionary and technically impressive. It redefined what FPS could be for 3 months until Half-Life 2 came out and dunked on it. Fair point. Fair fucking point.
You know, I think I was talking about Gears of War. I think that's the, I think that's more apt.
Half-Life 2, actually, that makes way more sense. It stole all the thunder. Because that's,
it did.
I mean, we're talking all-time Mount Rushmore, all-time Half-Life 2s in that category. So I agree. Should have brought that up earlier.
Should have. Yeah. Shame on us. All right. Next is Omi. And Omi says this is the first game I ever saw using what's now known as normal mapping. Kade was talking about that. It's a shader technology that modifies the lighting of a low poly model to look much more detailed than it actually is. Interesting. Awesome. Thank you, Omi.
All right. We have the Emperor, who tells us, Back when I played Doom 3 for the first time, I would play it at night to add to the experience. That is the appropriate way to do it, yes. The darkness of the game with the added environment would give me jump scares all the time throughout my playthrough. This is one Doom game that I revisit time and time again. No, I don't find the safe codes, I just look them up on GameFAQs. They're not that hard to find. The little voice recordings are cool to listen to while shooting down monsters. The Emperor approves of this game, and I highly recommend it. Thank you, Emperor.
I'll be honest, if I couldn't find it in any of my memos or I hear in the voices, because sometimes you feel like you just miss it from time to time, so I can empathize, I would just Dick Tracy it into my watch.
I mean, like, the only one that I could think of that would have been difficult would have been the BFG in The Office, because you get the memo for it, like, at the beginning of the game. Yeah. All the other ones are like,
I knew
it's the safe that's like 3 rooms away at most.
No, because sometimes I was like, I don't have the memo for this safe. I don't remember seeing the memo. So I just talk into my watch and be like, what's the code for so-and-so? And they would tell me. I
don't know, man. I got the Steam achievements for getting all of them. So
that's how Doom Guy would do it, I think. He would Dick Tracy into a watch.
This is supposed to be pontifications, and now I'm just shitting on the Emperor. You know what, man? It's fine.
I'm not shitting on the Emperor.
No, I said
I'm fine with what he did. No, fine. Fuck you. I'm not. I'm agreeing with him. Shitting on me. That's why I'm taking it. Taking it personally. Shane.
Okay. Keith Gasper. Like many of the games you cover, I own this one, but I've never actually played it. I enjoy Doom well enough, but there's always been something about the, quote, black sheep entries in a franchise that interests me the most. The only thing I really know about Doom 3 is its reputation for being much, much more horror-focused than the rest of the series, which is fine by me. By the time you're reading this, I'll probably know a little bit more about it from listening to the episode. Maybe you'll even convince me to finally get off my ass and play the thing. Okay, bye!
You have to say bye.
Oh, that's true. I pronounced that wrong. Bye!
Yeah. Bye! That's right. Pragmata. All right, next is from Randall, who says, this game is dunked on too much. Horror Doom is fine. Thank you, Randall.
Next up on our list is Riskel, who says, what a great horror game. I still remember the unease I felt when the first imp came through its hell portal in a terrifying way. It made the denizens of hell actually feel like the horrors that they're supposed to be. The biggest problem for me, though, was how slowly it ramped up, taking 20 to 30 minutes, as I recall, before getting to any demon hunting action was very anti-Doom.
Good point.
That's true. Yeah, but they had to build the plot. They had to build up to it, man. Story.
I don't.
That was all that was important in the early 2000s.
It was, and arguably still today. I mean, there's some issues with that in certain releases, but I mean, I would agree with that. It's not Doom. Just usually throws you right into the slaughter, one way or another. So yeah, that I would agree with that point.
Yeah, you have to. I remember, like, you get on the place, you talk to a couple of guys. He sends you down to the maintenance, like, go check something's fucking wrong with maintenance. Go take this wrench or whatever. Go check it out, and then you hear some noises, but it does take a while before you actually get to the killing. So fair point. Next,
you can play Turkey Puncher 3 in the stylization of Street Fighter Alpha 3.
That's Super Turbo Tonky. Super
Tonky.
Turbo Honky Puncher.
Honky Puncher.
Oh. You know what? It's fine. I lost it. I lost my chance there.
I heard Super Turbo Donkey Puncher. So for the record.
Donkey, yes. Where does that fall in the Mormon hierarchy of sexual acts?
That was
I think a donkey punch inherently interrupts the soak, so I feel like that's a problem.
It might agitate.
Exactly.
It's a shaker.
Yeah, we're adults. And you know who else is an adult? Jared Breland. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I'm sorry, Jared. Jared says, I really like Doom 3. It seems history has not been kind to it, with many discussions focusing on slow gameplay and dark lighting, which is not wrong, but also misses the point. Doom 3 wasn't a fast multiplayer deathmatch experience. See ID's previous Quake 3 for exactly that. It was a single-player immersive experience, and I feel it really delivered. It has enough story to be engaging. We agree there. The dark atmospheric lighting does a great job of setting the tone. We've also agreed there. The sound design was really unsettling and immersive. Yes, especially with surround sound. That's a good point. None of us talked about surround sound. Does it have actual 5.1 surround if you're set up for that? I don't know.
I've never had a setup for that, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
or it's
I don't
using
think I've ever had a proper setup.
The Silent Hill 2 EAS stuff that mimics the surround sound.
That's pretty bougie. That's some bougie shit.
Some bougie shit. And the graphics, as someone who lived through that period of gaming, the hype was real. The graphics were stunning in 2004. If you wanted a fast multiplayer experience, no, this wasn't for you. But if you enjoy single-player experiences with an engaging story, fun gaming mechanics, and incredible atmosphere, plus plenty of shit to blow up, then Doom 3 really hits the spot. It was fun when it released, and I still enjoy playing it today. On a personal note, ID released official Linux support for Doom 3 2 months after the Windows release, bringing true AAA experience to famished Linux gamers, and we feasted on this and follow up ID Tech 4 titles like Quake 4 and Prey. Pro tip, if the need to switch between a flashlight and a gun bothers you, check out the duct tape mod. It, air quote, duct tapes a flashlight to your shotgun or machine gun, or play the BFG edition, which includes a similar feature natively.
You say ID. Have we been saying id wrong the entire time?
I'm probably
ID.
If there's anything pronunciation wise, according to the internet, I am wrong. So
for the record, I called it ID for years too, but it's actually id because it's supposed to be a reference to, the id and the ego and the super ego, that whole thing.
I will trust something. I don't know. I don't know who to defer to here.
It's a psychology thing.
It makes sense. Yeah, that sure doesn't mean you pronounce it the same way. It just could be a reference. Like we already talked about pronunciation at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, okay,
who's right? Who's
it's fine. I feel like if John Romero and John Carmack say id, I'm fairly certain that that's the way to fucking say it. Just a hunch, I don't know.
Our AI overlords say it's id.
Oh, okay. Well, now we're going to talk about whether or not we think this game holds up today. As is tradition, myself and Shane will go first, and then we'll leave it to our guest to have the final word before we close this episode out. So, Shane, does Doom 3 hold up today?
Yeah, it does. Like, I think maybe even, I wouldn't say more so, but I think the perception of it as a whole, I think has finally kind of shifted towards the better, because I do believe that it got a lot of really unfair criticism at the time because it was such a, a different take for the sort of pre-established Doom franchise at that point. But like, it makes sense. And I felt like it always made sense to me. Even with some of the small reservations that I had, being one of those people that was like, but I played Doom and it's not really the same. At the end of the day, I still enjoyed the hell out of this game, no pun intended. And also it the setting is perfect for exactly this. You're in a space station taken over by literal demons. Like, of course you're going to want to lean into the more horror aspects of that. Like, why would you not? So to me, this was always a really natural choice. And especially with the fact that it is still very much playable today with the BFG edition, adding, full modern support with widescreen and, updated graphics, blah, 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 blah. There's no reason like not to try it out. Like if you like FPSs, if you like horror games, even like any combination thereof, if you haven't played this, like don't let that frankly stale narrative at this point of like, oh, it's not really good because it's like not the same. It's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's always been an exceptional game that just got shit on for really like the wrong reasons. And the only like thing that I would add is because you can buy the BFG edition on Steam and it comes with the original as well. If it's your first time playing it, I honestly genuinely would tell you to play the original version without any mods. Just play it the way that it was meant to be played, so that you really get the experience that they were trying to give you. Because I do, as I said earlier, I think that is actually important. If you play the BFG edition, you're still going to have a great time. Don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be the same Doom 3 experience that id Software really wanted you to have. And as we've talked about in other survival horror games and things like that in the past, those like restrictions or things that feel like they are hindrances in a lot of cases are intentional decisions, because those sort of like, purposeful reining in of your abilities as the player, generally, if it's done right, will add to the tension of the experience. And having the flashlight be its own thing, to where you have to make that decision of like, okay, do I go into this room and just go in when it's fucking dark because I just want to be ready to start blasting something if I can see it? Or do I use the flashlight and then, hope that I can swap fast enough? Like, that adds to that horror experience that they were trying to give you. And having that constant light being available really does take away from like moments where you go into a space where it's almost pitch black, and the only way that you can see an imp is by like the ambient, like dark red glowing of the plasma fireball that it conjured in its hand that it's about to peg you in the face with. Like,
pegging.
That can't be understated. So I would say if you're going to try it for the first time, I would go that route first. But overall, 100% still holds up extremely well today.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I did not play the original edition, so I would have to defer those thoughts over to Shane, who, keep in mind, is a Doom maniac. But then again, this is a game that's not considered to be Doom. So I will trust his authority on that. As for myself, I played the BFG edition, as already has been stated. And this that version that I played might be my favorite first-person shooter of all time. I had that much fun with this. So does that version hold up? Absolutely. I had such a phenomenal time with that. I am not the authority, though, when it comes to anything first-person shooters. I hardly play any of them. So when I say my favorite first-person shooter of all time, you're talking about maybe among like 10 games. So, like, let's calm our expectations here. Not something I'm really an expert in, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. This is in a clear running for my game of the year right now, on our own list, and how we handle that event at the end of the year as appropriate. I absolutely adored this game. I had a blast with it. Easily my favorite Doom game. By far my favorite Doom game so far. Have not played through 2016, even though I've had it forever. Haven't done that yet. Maybe I'm waiting until we talk about it here on this show. We technically can, or are very close to being able to talk about it. We almost talked about it this year, but we were like, you haven't covered 64 or 3 yet. Well, now we have. So there you go. It's on the menu, boys. Let's go.
Now we got to talk about the Doom RPG for mobile phones.
No, we're not. That's not happening. You can do a rapid fire review on that, Shane. Please, feel obliged. We haven't done one of those in a while. I don't even know what
those are anymore.
Yeah, I know. I can tell. I can't remember either, to be honest with you. But yeah, definitely holds up. Go play Doom 3. You'll have a good time. Kate, final word.
I agree with you guys. I actually would agree with Shane too. I wouldn't 100% agree. I think you could make the decision. Do I want a more difficult, meticulous survival horror experience? Or do I want the BFG version? It's pretty obvious what the differences are. Pick your choice. Both are good. In my usual style, I'd like to recommend, I did tinker around with some mods on this game because I wanted to see how far it could be pushed. There is a great mod.
Never would have thought from you,
yeah,
Kate? No.
There's a really good mod called Doom 3 Essential HD Pack. It also works for the BFD edition. It takes the BFG textures that were already a higher base resolution and it upscales them 2 to 4x, and the game looks really, really good. These upscale things work better when the base resolution is higher and they have more to work with. And then there's also 2 ways to get better lighting. You can use Marty McFly's RTGI reshade shaders. That works very, very well. I got that working. That can work right now, and it looks amazing. And then there's also a dude on YouTube who I have not got this working yet. He's got a demo out. But if you're curious, he goes by, I'm trying to find his Jonathan Justin Marshall. And he created a thing called Icebridge support, and that connects whatever Carmack mumbo jumbo sorcery that he did in 2004 and BFG edition to the NVIDIA RTX remix pipeline. And you can get true RTX ray trace lighting in Doom 3. I have not personally tested that. It's still in early beta, but the footage online is very, very sexy. So if you've already played Doom 3 and you are weirdly obsessed with graphics like I am, you can do some stuff on your own and maybe play it with a fresh new coat of paint.
All right, there you go. Doom 3. Play the game. No descent there. No movement. Doesn't even seem to matter which version you play. It's a game worth playing today. Go play Doom 3. But that concludes another episode of the Retro Hangover podcast. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Kade, for stopping by to hang out with us. It's always a pleasure having you on. I think, are you showing up for another episode later this year? You might be, but stick around to hear more Kade. He is Arcade on the Retro Hangover podcast. I was just trying to make an arcade joke. He's not actually ours, so that you'd probably be a little concerned if he was. But Kade, if you want people to find you on the internet, I think you do. Where would you like them to find you?
They can just type in gaming memories on any standard place where you like to doom scroll and have your soul sucked away. And hopefully I will provide you some more nutritious things than your usual social media feed. If you like video games, I tend to not engage in very much rage bait or arguing. I do get sucked into that sometimes. But the last couple of years, I've tried to focus on just being positive and pointing out things I like about games, retro games, how to spruce them up with modern techniques, if that's your bag. I've been doing more video essays, long form stuff, and tutorials. So if you're interested in playing a 30-year-old game in 4K 620 FPS with ray trace lighting, I'm your guy.
There's something I wonder. Oh. The next episode you're going to hear Kade on the, well, aside from maybe COG 89, depending on when that gets out and when people listen to it. The next time Kade will be at least on the main feed, Kade, and I'm excited about this, is Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh, we're doing MGS 2? I forgot we agreed on that.
We did.
I love that game, and I already did a pretty in-depth episode with Dave Jackson on that game. And we had an absolute blast. Ooh.
But you'll be on that one.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut because there's so much juicy things. Yes.
So much. All right. Well, Shane, now it's your turn to get our audience all hot and bothered about where they can find the show that they have already found.
Yeah. Well, they finally get around to actually playing MGS2. All right. Let's see. Our stuff. Well, if you didn't know, we've basically done all the work for you, right? Like, apart from making the show, you're welcome. We also made it very easy for you to find all the bullshit that we put out on the internet. So if you happen to like this particular brand of bullshit, then you can go to our link tree. That is at linktr.ee/retro hangover, where you will find not only this here main feed of the show, but you can also find our Patreon, which is open and public and available. So if you're not in there, then I don't know what you're doing with your life because you're missing out. So you should definitely do that because that is absolutely free. And we also have our Patreon and our merch store. So if you'd like to support the show in those kinds of ways, those are available to you. We also have our socials, which we technically still own according to the law of the land. Not for usage, that's for damn sure, but they're there. And also we have our Twitch and our YouTube channels. So bunch of different things. They're all in one place. Please feel free to go check those out. And I think that's all for me. Chris, would you like to throw an extra Fiesta plug in here at the end?
Yeah, the Fiesta has begun, and I don't think it's ended. So if you want to swing by and watch me play some Final Fantasy V for a good cause, just head over to twitch.tv/retrohangover and give us a follow there so that you'll be notified whenever I'm playing. You could also find that on your YouTube channel, which is in a link tree. So it's probably just youtube.com/retrohangover. I imagine I'm going to be posting a link to the charity drive once I get that started in our Discord. So by the time you're listening to this, of course, that will be in our announcements channel. So go check that out. Once again, we are raising money for the Children's Center for the Visually Impaired. So if you can't afford to, I understand, whenever your budget is, and if you don't want to, that's fine as well. Won't hold anything against you. But if you are so inclined, we're going to have a charity going for that. So I will match those donations up to $500 of my own money. And we've been doing this for the past couple of years. So more than happy to donate to them. They, they're a fantastic charity, and it is an honor of one of our late community members. So yeah, at least consider it, check it out, take a look at it. And hope to see you on those streams, regardless.
All right. Well, I do believe, with all of that now having been said, until the next time,
play with your, I'm going to jump out at you like a donkey punching your head joysticks.
Purists, lamented. See, there you go. That's the pronunciation.
Lament.
Layman. Mein Leben. Anyway. Purist. Fuck.
Did you want to read, Kate, or you just want us to read? It's up to you.
I can read one.
All right, sure.
Yeah. We are on PM Scram, sorry. Is that correct, or are we on OMI?
We're on PM Shram.
PM Shram. Doom 3 traded action for more psychological horror. Not a bad game, but was a direction change for sure. The change that got reversed.
That was the previous one I read. It's under his
in my life. Doom 3 was revolutionary.
Shane here with a quick message. The one rule Chris and I have always gone by regarding advertisements is this. It has to be something we use and can personally vouch for. If you know me, you know I love coffee. And Bones Coffee Company has been my go-to for home brewing for quite some time now. Their small batch beans come in an impressive variety of flavors like Mint Invaders from Chocolate Space, or Electric Unicorn, which I swear tastes exactly like Fruity Pebbles. And the best part? No added sugar or calories involved, just natural flavors infused right into the beans themselves. Build your own sample pack of 5 4-ounce bags to find out which flavors speak to you, or jump in head first with full 12-ounce bags. They've even got K-Cups. Step up your homebrew game with Bones Coffee by visiting bit.ly/RHPBones. That's bit.ly/RHPBONES.